Vanakkam. Now, today I am going to take up the standard on quality control for practicing unit from peer review angle. So this portion I am going to divide into two parts or three parts, but anyhow, I am going to start with the standard on quality control for practicing unit. It's a basic thing that everyone must know, and everyone has to follow this quality control. So the ICA has made mandatory of this quality control provisions from 1/4/2009. This is from the peer review act. It's a mandatory one, and now the peer review units, all peer review has to be conducted on practicing units and also on its personnel. And the peer reviewer has to see whether the practicing unit has maintained the standard on quality control. And to this, you have to see from, or you have to comply with professional standards, regulatory, legal, and ethical requirements. All these 4 points you have to see, because each and every practicing unit has to maintain quality control on professional standards, regulatory, legal, and ethical requirements. So this is a mandatory one. This is a basic thing that you should know. So all the practicing unit, whether you may be subject to peer review or not, you have to maintain the standard on quality control. Now, what are the policies and procedures that a practicing unit has to have quality control? That is, it has been divided into 6 parts. All these 6 parts we are going to explain in detail, and the questions that you have to submit to the peer reviewer is from this 6 angle. First thing is leadership responsibilities for quality within the firm and ethical requirements, including independence, acceptance and continuance of client relationship and special engagements, human resources, engagement performance, and monitoring. For all these 6, the ICA has raised so many questions, and all the practicing unit has to give the answer in indirectly. We can say that all the practicing unit has to follow these things, so that they will be called as a quality-based practicing unit. Now, first we will take up the leadership responsibilities for the quality within the firm. Within a firm, what is the leadership responsibility? So any practicing unit, it should be led by someone. That person is called as a leader, and that leader has to be responsible for the quality performance. So policies and procedures established by practicing unit to promote culture of quality in performing assurance engagements and steps involved in to demonstrate the quality performance. So policies and procedures, what are the policies and procedures are there at the practicing unit, and how these policies and procedures, they are going to improve the quality in the performing of assurance engagements, and what are the steps that are involved to demonstrate the quality performance, how to achieve the quality performance, what are the steps that the practicing unit has got, that also you have to give. And the person who is responsible for the practicing unit is capable of maintaining the quality, is capable of giving the quality performance. So the responsible person should also be fixed by the practicing unit to have the quality performance. So policies and procedures and the responsible person list you have to give. Next one is commercial consideration of practicing unit should not override the quality performance. So that means only for on the basis of fees, the quality performance should not differ. So quality performance should be there, whether you receive the fees or not, whether it's for a commercial purpose or non-commercial purpose. But for a practicing unit, you have to maintain the quality. And whether the practicing unit has got quality review policy, and it says what is the documentation. So this is also another suggestion that peer review board has given, whether the practicing unit has got the quality review policy. That means every year or every once in 6 months, based on the decision of the practicing unit, a quality review policy should be there. And yes, that's a quality review policy. What are the documents that every practicing unit has to maintain? All this should be clearly be given in the questionnaire. And is engagement partner and review partner are same or different? So engagement partner is the main partner whose name the peer review is being allotted, and review partner, suppose who is going to review the practicing unit, that also should be replied. So engagement partner and review partner may be one and the same, or sometimes they may be different. And what are the other leadership responsibilities? Then here, whether the responsible person for quality control at the practice unit in developing, implementing, and operating. It is very, very simple. The person who is responsible for the quality control at the practicing unit, he is responsible to develop, implement, and operate the quality control policy. So that means first thing, you have to identify the person responsible, and that person should be capable of developing, implementing, and operating the quality control policy. Whether there's a quality control system and practicing unit and method of verification. Yes, that's a quality control system is there. And how to verify this quality control? What are the methods of verification? That practicing unit has to give reply in its questionnaire. And whether the quality control has got the manual, separate manual, whether the practicing unit has got the separate manual for quality control. So it is indirectly the peer review board say that all practicing unit should have got the or may have got the quality control manual. So whether you are subject to peer review or not, please maintain the quality control manual. And next one is you have appointed one person and he is responsible for the quality control, and the practicing unit should know whether he has got the sufficient appropriate experience, ability, and authority to assume the responsibility. Because the person in charge of that quality control should have got the enough experience, and he should have got the ability, and he should have got the authority so that he can assume the responsibility for the quality. So this is a very, very important thing. So with reference to leadership, so a leader should be there. Leader should be capable of he is capable of executing all decisions. He is capable of managing or developing or implementing or operating the quality control policies, and whether that leader has got, that is the appropriate person or a responsible person has got the sufficient knowledge, sufficient experience, ability to assume the responsibility. And authorized personnel should have got the sufficient knowledge by way of attending the sufficient training, and you should have got the updated knowledge so that you can assume the responsibility. So this is very, very simple. Authorized person should be there. Then he should have got the capability to develop, implement, and operating the quality control, and he should have got the enough experience. And from where they will get the enough experience, that authorized personnel has to attend sufficient training and updated by way of attending the sufficient training, he can update the knowledge so that the responsibility can be passed on to the authorized personnel. Other thing is policies and procedures related to performance evaluation and compensation and promotion for its personnel. Now next thing is personnel comes into the procedure. What are the policies and procedures? Because one leader, he cannot perform anything, so he has to depend on his personnel. So what is the policies and procedures that are related to the performance evaluation, compensation, and promotion for his personnel? So that means indirectly it is clear, or directly it is clear that there should be a quality control manual, and there should be a policy and procedures to be adopted at the practicing unit, either with reference to the leader or to its personnel. And this thing has to demonstrate at the practice unit about the commitment of quality. So these personnel has to give a quality service to the practicing unit. How the practicing unit has planned to give the quality service in the engagement, in the assignment of the work. Then how the performance is linked to the assignment. So for that also there should be a separate policy. So if this is the performance, and to achieve this performance, this work is assigned to this person. So the practicing unit should know what is the capability of this authorized person or authorized personnel, and how the performance is directly linked to the assignment. That also you have to, the practice unit has to give in its reply to the peer review board. And about the performance evaluation, how to maintain the document. So you have to, evaluate a person with reference to performance. So the practice unit has to maintain proper documents. So it should be maintained either in the manual mode also they can maintain, or some process of documents will be there. So in that manner, a performance evaluation can be evaluated by the practicing unit on the person. So all this reply he has to give to the peer review board in his questionnaire. So practicing unit, now comes to the question of investment. Now the practice unit should have got the quality control, and for that they have to invest in some technology. How a quality is being improved, whether they have to follow the same conventional method or whether they can update the performance through software. So what is the quantum of investment? What is the total amount of investment that the practicing unit has made on any technology? So that is another thing that a practice unit has to give in its reply. What is the total amount of investment? And what are the total amount of investments? All the details, they have to submit the same to the peer review board. So manual, what is the total cost of the manual and how the manual is being maintained? What is the latest technology that they have implemented in the system and in the office maintenance? Everything that you have to give. Whether you are storing in the cloud, that is also an investment. So all these details that you have to give in the questionnaire. Whether practicing unit maintains any quality control manual. So it is once again, the point number E says that the practice unit should have got the quality manual, quality control manual. So all the practicing unit, who are all called as practicing unit: individual, proprietorship firm, LLP, partnership firm. Company is not included. So all these four are called as practicing unit. All these four units, they have to maintain the quality control manual, and how the practicing unit is monitoring the quality control manual, and whether all the quality control manual is being implemented by the practicing unit properly or not. And the practicing unit has to document all the quality control procedures, all the quality control that it has taken during its operation. So this is another important thing that you have to follow from the leadership angle. So a leader should be there. He should have got the capacity. He is responsible for the quality maintenance, and there should be a quality control manual, and technology will be there to improve the quality control, and all the documents should be properly maintained, and the leader should have got, or the personnel should have got, the proper training, and all these are part of the leadership. This is the first thing that peer practice unit has to manage, has to carry out in the quality control procedures. Next one is acceptance. That is, you are accepting a client and continuing the client. What are the specific things that they have to see? This is being stated as the second quality control. For that, there should be a process that practicing unit have got the continued relationship with the client. So first thing, to get a client is a very difficult one. You have got the client, but you have to retain the client, and you have to retain the client, and you have to continue the relationship with the client without any problem, and without any difference of opinion. You have to continue with the client. So this is also to be considered as a part of the quality control. So the client's integrity should also be seen, because sometimes the client should have given the work, but they have not paid the fees, or they have not cooperated with the auditor. So what is the process that a practicing unit has got to verify the integrity of the client? That for that also the practice unit should have planned. And the process of competencies and resources to undertake engagements. Whether the practicing unit has got the competency to handle the engagements with the clients, or what are the sources that the practicing unit has got to undertake the works or to undertake the engagements with the client. Because you should have got the continued relationship. You have every practice unit has got the intention to have the continued relationship with the client. So whether that practice unit has got the competency and whether there's a resources. Sometimes if the practice unit has not updated the knowledge, say for example, GST has to be updated, right? I mean, every minute. If there is any deficit in service, then that will definitely spoil the client relationship, and client definitely he will go out. So all the whether the practice unit has got the competency, that also you have to see, and whether the practicing unit has got the all the rights or all the ways in which they have to maintain the ethical requirements. So ICA has through ethical standard board has prescribed a lot of ethical things. Whether the practicing unit has got or has complied with the ethical requirements, that also you have to see. Next thing is with reference to point B, C, D. Practicing unit, first thing, to get a client, you have to get an engagement letter with the client. In that engagement letter, what are the works to be done by the practicing unit has to be clearly spelled out by the client. So the person who is responsible to do the engagement should also be clearly sorted by the practicing unit. This is one. Yeah, you got the letter. Sometimes the process may be withdrawn. That is, the client may withdraw your services, or even you can send your client out. So what is the process involved? So appointment, then withdrawal. Why you have withdrawn? So you have to give all the reasons how engagement can be withdrawn, either by the practicing unit or by the client. So if the client and practicing unit, they have withdrawn the engagement letter, then that is the relationship is going to be cut. So that also you have to be, that is, the practicing unit has to give clear picture in the questionnaire that has been prescribed by the peer review board. So details of document related to issues and decision taken relating to acceptance and continuance of the relationship and specific. And this is very, very simple. So every year you have been appointed as the practicing unit for that line. So the appointment letter, once again, every year they have to get the appointment letter, and the documents means what is the role, what is the responsibility of the client, what is the responsibility of the charter accountant, everything should be clearly spelled out in that document. So if that is there, whether the continuance of the client relationship will be there, that also you can find from the continued relationship with the client. So this is also another quality, because the client should be given with a proper thing. So here the engagement letter should be there, and what are the areas that the practice unit has to carry out, and what are the responsibility, what is the way in which they can withdraw the engagement. This is with reference to point number 2. And third one is we are going for human resources. What is a human resource? That is the personnel who is going to manage the practicing unit. So that means the practicing unit has to appoint the personnel on hiring basis. That is on the employment basis. Sometimes they may give the work on the outsourcing way, but that is a different issue. But what are the steps that a practicing unit will take to hire a personnel? So what are the, for that, even for that hiring of this one work from the personnel, there should be a policy and procedures to be practicing unit. To achieve this, whether that personnel has got the desired capability, competence, and commitment to ethical principles to as per the standards, regulatory and legal requirements. So the personnel should follow the professional standards, regulatory and legal requirements as per the ICA guidelines, as well as this should not affect the practicing unit. So the selecting of the personnel is very, very important. So this is the base, because practice unit cannot do the working on its own. So they have to depend on others. So for this, there should be a criteria considered before hiring a person. So I want to appoint a person. What is the basis on which I have to select that person? So normally in very big firm, some HR department will be there. So the HR, that is human relationship manager, will be there. He will pick the persons. So for that, the practicing unit has to give the ideas. What is this is our control, this is our policy, this is our procedures, based on which you have to select the persons. So for that, there is another manual that a practicing unit has to maintain, is HR manual. So that is also quality control manual you have to maintain. Next one is HR manual that you have to maintain. So HR manager has to maintain the required documents for the purpose of interview. So how they are going to do the interview? So for entire process should be properly documented, whether proper notice is given to the person who has applied for the job, everything should be there. So all the thing should be properly documented. Next one is the criteria is fixed by the practice unit to select engagement letter to engage a person for the professional function. So criteria should be fixed. How a professional can be selected for the practicing unit. So HR is there. HR has to follow the HR manual, and HR manual is the responsibility. HR manual is the responsibility to be prepared by the practicing unit, and how a professional is being selected and how an engagement letter is also being given to that professional should be clearly mentioned. And it includes, suppose this human resources includes work experience. So before selection, they will consider the work experience in the professional area and professional qualification. So based on which a person can be selected for the unit. Whether the practicing unit considers professional knowledge, experience prior to assigning responsibility for an engagement to a particular partner or member. It is nothing. So suppose it is a very, very clear thing that a practicing unit must consider the professional knowledge or experience. Suppose if anyone has to be appointed as a partner, for the practicing unit, or has been appointed, has become a member of practicing unit, you should have got the professional knowledge and experience. So these are the responsibilities of the HR. They have to see, but HR has to follow the HR manual, and it is a responsibility for the practicing unit to prepare the HR model. So there should not be any deviation. Does the practicing unit conduct any in-housing or to attend the meeting, CPE meeting for updation? So it is clear indication that the personnel who are appointed, who have been selected for the practicing unit, has to undergo in-house training. If it is there, then you have to give yes. If it is not there, then no. Then you have to give the reason. And whether they have been permitted to attend CPE meeting regularly. Now, most of the companies, they are doing this. They allow the, say, suppose there is a practicing unit and they allow the chartered accountants to attend this CPE meeting. Even the cost of the CPE meeting is also borne by the practicing unit. So whether there is an in-house training or whether the managers, whether the personnel have been allowed to attend the CPE meeting for the updation. And another thing is, yes, a member is allowed to undergo a training, and a member is allowed to participate in the CPE meeting. And whether that member has updated the knowledge, for that also, the practice unit should have got the policies and procedures, how the members have got the updated knowledge with reference to current developments and current amendments and developments. So that is a very, very important thing. So you can give experience, you can give the training, you can ask the personnel to attend the training, but whether that person has got the updated knowledge or not, that also you have to see. Now, how practicing unit compares professional knowledge with professional performance evaluation. So this is very, very simple, that it's a clear indication that a practicing unit should estimate, should evaluate the staff, should evaluate its officers, should evaluate its partner, whether the professional knowledge of that persons who have been selected by the HR is helpful to the exact evaluation, to the exact performance of the work. So this is a very, very important thing. So So far, we have covered 3 heads of the standard on quality control. Remaining heads we will see in the next presentation. Thank you for watching the presentation and Nandri Vanakkam.